Good evening. The southeast has been hit by the worst storm in almost a quarter of a century. Kay McGrath joins us now live from the Gap, where the Army's been brought in to help. Kay, it's a disaster zone.
That's right, Rod. I'm here in Kimruska Street, which is still very damp. This is where the destructive power of the storm was at its peak. This house behind me has really been hit, as have 4,000 others right across the southeast. It's a heartbreaking scene, mirrored throughout this suburb and of course many others. And this afternoon, disaster relief was announced for families in need. The destruction's been compared by some with Cyclone Larry. 27,000 people still without power. Water supplies near here have been contaminated and some schools remain shut. Now, our coverage of this devastating weather event begins at Chermside, where a 20-year-old man died in a stormwater drain.
Fate spared Francis's life, but not the horror of hearing his drowning mate crying for help. They were both deep inside a dry stormwater drain at Chermside, taking photographs, possibly of graffiti, when a tidal wave of water roared down the pipes.
It was full of stormwater.
They were sucked further in and then separated by the torrent. Francis was swept 200 metres underground before he managed to grab a grate.
And we just heard yells from our balcony, help, help, so we yelled out, where are you? And he said, in the drains.
This woman's roommate rushed 6 stories downstairs with a rope.
We seen the guy clinging to the side of the drainage in the water and just said, are you alright, do you want some help?
Firefighters rescued the 23-year-old survivor. He still had his $3,000 camera around his neck.
He was very shaken and he looked very cold.
The swift water rescue team risked their own lives looking for his friend.
So they went in there.
Fighting sweeping currents and debris, they eventually found the 20-year-old's body 6 metres below ground.
I think he was just overwhelmed with the amount of water that was coming through the drains.
Police say it would have been terrifying. The friends would have heard the wall of water coming, but were trapped with no escape. The victim's tripod was recovered this morning in the same drain where his mate was rescued. Erin Edwards, 7 News.
The storm also caused widespread destruction. It now seems clear that the worst damage is, in fact, here at the Gap and in nearby suburbs. Hundreds of homes are badly damaged. Scores of residents have tonight been forced to seek emergency shelter. Locals say it was a tornado that tore their suburb apart.
It looks like Innisfail, Cyclone Larry in 2006, but this is Brisbane, the Gap, just out the back of Mount Cooper. The storm cut a swathe of devastation through what was one of Brisbane's leafiest suburbs. Homes destroyed like a bomb had gone off. Millions of dollars worth of damage caused in minutes. It struck with incredible force. A resident shot these pictures. A teenage girl could do nothing but cower inside.
My windows are broken. Holy crap. Oh my god.
A deluge of rain, hail and wind. The gutters couldn't cope. This was Hilda Street at the Gap.
Hail everywhere. The rock. Oh, look at the roar. It's like a river. Holy crap.
The water receded quickly. The damage left behind staggering. Street after street covered by trees. Roof after roof ripped off.
It's crazy, like a cyclone or something's hit.
Nowhere suffered more damage than Graham and Lynette Bigby's house. Perched on a hill overlooking the Gap, it's now a shell.
It was like an explosion. When the windows blew, it was just like a huge bang.
Lynette huddled behind a surviving wall to escape flying debris.
I'm lucky to be alive.
This is Wilmarla Street. It's one of the Gap's worst hit areas. Power lines are down, roofs thrown into the street. Almost every home is damaged.
A tree crashed through Walter Battick's house. His neighbour's roof is in his pool.
I'm in shock, you know. It's just terrible.
Across the road, Charlene Gowder's ceiling is now one giant skylight.
This was our study room. The kids' study room and sort of a visitor's room as well.
By mid-morning, political leaders were inspecting the disaster zone. Like everyone else, the Lord Mayor and Premier was stunned.
I've never seen anything like this anywhere in Brisbane.
So many homes and businesses without power, 240,000 of them. Energex was on the job, but again facing questions. Can it cope with a summer of severe storms?
The strength of the network is actually well illustrated by the speed in which the major parts of the network have been returned to power.
Mobile phones were down too. Towers have been smashed by the storm. Door knocking's already started to check if anyone's injured or worse.
The scale of this is quite quite overwhelming. There is a lot of damage, a lot of problems out there.
After a phone call to the federal government, Anna Bligh triggered National Disaster Relief Assistance. Immediate cash payments of $765 per family and $165 for individuals are available. Those who stay are being warned not to drink tap water without boiling it first. The roof was ripped off the Enoggera reservoir, its contents contaminated. Extra police are on hand to prevent looting.
We do need people to leave their homes where their homes are unsafe, but there will be extra security out on the streets.
It'll take time to clean up those streets, but already community spirit is kicking in.
Hopefully we can just get everyone together and try and help out and get it done as quick as we can.
Michael Best, 7 News.